Bobby, thanks for coming in.
Always love it. Thanks so much, Ed.
My pleasure. Got to get the word out to people. So what's not a ton going on this week. There's some mortgage stuff, but not a ton that's going to move the market. So today's Tuesday. I think there was a couple indexes coming out, but I just deleted them all. The big thing is going to be Friday, the PCE, the personal consumption expenditure. All the rest of it is just, and now the housing builder index, how's that happening? We already know new home sales are flying off the shelf. It's about time because they started making them again. People can buy them, but I think people are just getting used to where we are. Yeah. And they understand it's not going to drop fast. And this is where this is a new normal. And they're like, I hate when they say this is a new normal.
Yeah. They think that reminds them of COVID, right?
Yeah. I said that earlier yesterday, and same thing happened. Mike was like, don't bring up Corona.
Hey, man, it's still present, right?
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, people are still getting it.
Well, what's crazy, man? The other day I was over at the grocery store, and all the people at Save Mart were wearing masks. I was like, what's this stuff? Like, oh, someone tested positive, so they made us all wear them.
If I was in where I was dealing with everybody, that many people coming through my line, I think I'd wear a mask anyway.
Yeah.
Just because, it keeps you from getting flu, this everything. I mean, I'm not trying to be, conspiracy theory, but it did not work on certain things, right? There was the lowest flu we ever had because when people were wearing masks. So
that and people just weren't even like getting close to each other, right? They weren't socializing. So,
well, not only that, I mean, because you go to the hospital now, nobody wears them. And I was getting my blood drawn, and he's like, I kind of want to wear it because all the people who come in here, I don't want to get sick. Like, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they should make the medical staff wear them. Not us, but them. That's fine. If they want to wear it so they don't get sick, that's okay. If you want to wear a mask because you don't want to get sick, that's your choice. But to be forced to wear a mask is a problem.
True. Yeah, it should always be. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's a hot button topic, man.
Well, it's just we both signed on the line to protect this country, and we said we could go to war with what we signed. So we have a different take on things, right?
Yeah. What I was going to say, I was that guy, that they were chasing through Winco saying, "Sir, you need a mask."
Of course you were, Bobby.
I gotta admit, I was difficult, man.
Yeah. For a while there it was, but Stanislaus County was a little different. We fought as much as we could.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. I learned when I went to Monterey, it was like May of 2020. Yeah, I wasn't allowed in anywhere. I'm surprised they didn't kick me off the streets. But Jamie's dad, he was in Safeway, over by their house, and they were chasing him down, saying, "Sir, you need a mask." He's like, "No, it's okay. I'm Republican."
All right, let's not make it political.
Come on, man.
All right. I mean, so again, the market, we're not going to see a major drop in rates until we see a major drop in inflation. And I don't think we're going to see that for a while. I thought it was coming like this month, and then in July. I just think there's too many other things going on that is unfortunately controlling the market more than we thought it was going to be. Our current government, what they're doing, this last weekend, you had somebody running, going, "I'm going to take over, get rid of Putin," and that didn't happen. And that was a bad thing because the oil prices would have went up.
Yeah.
If they would have overthrown, that's, so it was like sitting next to somebody who's like, "Hey, this is what's going to happen." That's a bad thing because oil price is going to go up. I'm already looking, the gas prices went up in our area. Diesel anyway.
Yeah. What's diesel at right now?
5 something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was over at Arco the other day, and I was thinking of you because diesel was only like 10 cents more than unleaded.
And how much was that?
It was like $4.69.
Yeah, okay. But you can't use debit card, right? You got to pay for it.
Well, then it's 10 cents more if you use debit. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 20 cents more.
A little hustlers, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it's like, that's not bad, but and it's just, I know a local store that I used to go to all the time here, and they went up. Well, I know they just got bought, so maybe that's why they went up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Making some more.
Or a local company owned it, they kept it lower, right? And now it's the national brand, and it's higher.
Gotcha.
I think I have to start shopping elsewhere. All right. So how was your weekend? Did you have any open house?
Yeah, I had open house over on Spring Creek Drive in Ripon, over by the golf course.
Yeah.
And we had
You're probably like the only open house there, right? In the whole town.
Yeah, especially Ripon, right?
That's, I mean, it's such a small place.
Yeah. Oh, I'm saying I got signs, from from the Main Street exit and all the way down to Milgio. So we had a lot of neighbors, but we had a handful of people that had been out there for an estate sale, and then other people that had seen online that came out intentionally. So we probably had like 14 families, and list price was 1.2 million. So
it's a good price.
It's a good turnout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and you see people coming over from the Bay thinking that's cheap.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's a lot of house for 1.2 if you're coming from the Bay, right?
Yeah, because they get nothing. They get what we have on some of the smaller streets here in town.
I know, that's crazy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was good. It's good turnout, and I know there was a handful of open houses this last weekend, but I haven't followed up with those agents yet. But I mean,
well, I talked to one, and he said there was 30 couples at one of the open houses.
What was the price point?
He didn't tell me, but I assume it would. It's probably in the 500, 600 range.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good turnout for that.
Yeah, but you got to remember, FHA goes up to if you're 517 in our area. Purchase price.
Yeah, purchase price. Yeah.
So that's a totally different house, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and then if you're conventional, goes up to 726, 500, and that's a good house in our area.
Yeah.
So I think that people are finally saying, okay, I hate this payment. I got to get a house though. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you got to be really careful as a loan officer that you have to hit your people every week with their payment, if it adjusts at all. Yeah. Because I had a couple who, that just I was keeping them conventional so they could get their offer accepted. Right. But if they went FHA, it was $200 cheaper. And so that's what we're going to FHA. But if you go FHA, then you're just like everybody else. Right.
Yeah.
So, and this was one up in the Valley Springs area.
Oh, okay.
And then you got fire insurance. Yeah. Right. And because he was looking from Escalon all the way to Valley Springs. And I was like, the difference going to be the insurance in a monthly payment. There's nothing I can do about that. It just depends on where you're buying. And his was almost $3,000 a year for home insurance.
Oh, I was going to ask what a ballpark figure was. Yeah.
About $3,000. But in our area, insurance could be anywhere from $600 to $1,200, depending on what you have and what you're trying to do. So that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And, a couple $100 a month. And if you're a first time, that's in your, I think did we talk about last week about the frog in the water? Is that us?
No.
Okay. So I think the problem is a lot of people who are renting right now are frogs in the water where they're turning the heat up really slow to a boil and the frog doesn't jump out because it doesn't know.
Yeah.
Well, right now, those rents, that's what that rent payment they have right now is so cheap, but everything around them is going up. And when the sellers or the place they're renting goes, okay, it's time to move, they're going to go shock and look to see that their rents are so much higher. And that's what's happening with a couple of people where they're going, my rent's only $1,200, but my payment's going to be $2,700. But the difference is a purchase, you're actually investing in the property, whereas a renting, you're just throwing your money away.
Yeah. No, it is, there is a big difference. It used to be back in the day, a few years ago where it made more sense to buy than to rent. Right. But there's people that still had credit repairs that they were doing. So they had lost a house or they're just irresponsible in their younger years. And so that was kind of the obstacle. But now it seems like most folks that we're looking at, they have, well-established jobs and good credit. They're just waiting for the market to change. And I think, after what I'm going to say last May was when rates started going up, right?
Yeah. They started raising, Fed started raising in March.
Cause I know I had a listing in May and rates were like 4 3/4. And then all of a sudden it jumped up like 1. And
yeah, it was a 5 something.
Yeah. Then the market just kind of, boop.
Well, then what happened was we didn't really see a major change for people with rates until like October. Yes, they slowly went up like that, but they stayed around the 5 something conventional, which wasn't bad. Once they hit 6 and almost 7, that's when the market said, okay, that was October. Yeah. We're going to hold off. And you're right. A lot of people thinking I wanted this market to stabilize. It's not going to stabilize. The only, the rates are not going to drop as fast as we thought they were going to. And the house values are going to continue to go up. Right this year, they've went up. So 22, 6%. That's an average appreciation, right? This year they're planning on 5%.
Well,
and that's nationwide, so that's going to be higher in our area.
Oh, it's going to be a lot higher. Yeah. One thing I always think about is I remember, when I bought my first house, I thought I could make this payment. It's going to be tight, right? And then when we wanted to step up, I thought, well, it's going to be tight, man, but we can figure it out. And you know what happened? I just got better at managing my money, right?
Mhm.
I got better at budgeting, which this is kind of like a little plug for our church, but our church is actually putting on Financial Peace University. And so it's $40 for families to come and take the course. It's a 9-week course, and I'll be helping lead it. But that's something right there that I think, every person who's getting ready to buy a home, if they haven't gone through that program, it's such a great idea.
Or at least go through a budget program.
Yeah.
Something, or understand what budgeting. But I think a lot of people just don't want to be on a budget. You follow me?
Yeah. Yeah. And I know I've mentioned this story before, right? But like when my wife and I got pregnant.
But you guys are unusual people.
No, I know. But when she got pregnant, we said we never lived on a budget. Man.
Right. I know.
Right.
I get it.
And so once I finally sat down and went through my finances, I'm like, so we're 2 people, and we're spending $1,000 a month on going out to eat, plus groceries, plus going out and getting drinks and stuff like that. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I'm blowing all my money,
Mhm.
So.
But you're right. So the question is putting your money elsewhere. And you're right. Everybody says, I don't know if I can make this payment. Then after the second and third payment, it's no big deal anymore. That's how that always works. I don't care what number that is. It's just getting over that, being scared that you're making. I think most people think they're making a mistake, and that mistake's only going to be in your mind, and that's the problem right now. I could see that if we were at the highest the house values were, and we had a ton of inventory, you could think you might be making a mistake and seeing a market correction. The problem is we've been saying there is no inventory, none. I mean, 35%. Because just the other day we looked at numbers again. It was like 480 houses in the state of California are closing a day. It worked up to being like 181,000.
Yeah.
So it's still, and that's if we use the current number going forward, but they still had 6 months of the lower number. You follow me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not going to see that. So you have to be okay with, I still think next year, the year after that, the values are going to be so much higher. People are going to go, wow, I wish I would have, just like they are saying that now about 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely right.
Everybody's going, I should have bought. Yeah. The problem is in 2020 and 21, there wasn't a lot of inventory. We just had a lot of crazy things going on because not only were people buying, we were inundated with refinances. We were just slammed. Yeah. So it seemed like there was a ton of business when there really wasn't a lot of business in the purchase realm. There was, just average. Think about it. It was only 50% of the properties were on the market.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, there was just a ton of competition. I mean,
well, not only that, but there was only 50% of the houses on the market back then.
Yeah.
As our normal inventory. And then you add on all the refinances. And that's why it was easy for some people just to stay in the purchase market and then do a little bit of refinances because everybody was chasing those things.
Yeah. I hope someday there's some, magic bullet that, frees up inventory or creates more, but I'm not seeing it right now.
I think what they're going to need to do is create a house that can come out and be popped up in 2 days is what they need to do. I know they're doing some 3D printing of homes, right?
And concrete.
Yeah. And that's fast, but still, we just need to be able to build houses faster. The whole tracks, not take 10, 15 years. It needs to be able to get done in a year. Fast track these things. Yeah. Have the government, instead of paying people like us to buy homes, pay the builders to build them and control what they're doing. Like, here, we'll cut your fees, but they all have to be sold to people buying them, not renting them.
Yeah. All primary residents, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we're just still short building. And if you look at the numbers, we're still adding to the deficit each month. So unfortunately, until that happens, this is where we're going to be at. And when the rates drop, we'll see more inventory coming on. I'm actually seeing more inventory come on in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's just could be age of people.
I'm going to say, is that like life events, right?
Probably. That's usually all that happens. People sell houses because of life events or have to move or whatever. I just think most people aren't moving up just because it's going to cost so much to move up.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you and I have talked about
as I said, right?
Yeah.
Just bite the bullet after a couple months. It's not a big deal. Remember, you just said that.
Yeah.
Right. That payment's not going to be a big deal after a couple months.
Yeah.
Take your own advice there, Bobby.
Actually, yeah, I kind of had like a strategy for it, but I don't know how it'd work out. Basically like taking some equity and setting aside and supplementing my monthly payment, but yeah.
Yeah, well, we can talk afterwards.
Yeah, that's a crapshoot.
All right. Thanks for being here today. Thank you for watching. If you like what we do here, the best way to support us is just by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Mine's Ed Parcaut. Bobby, what's yours?
Robert Atkins, Realtor.
So it's kind of like your website.
Yep.
All right.
Trying to be consistent.
That's how you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
All right. Make it a great day. And thanks for coming in, Bobby.
Thanks.